only time that I discussed with her any haircut was because, and this should be noted in the court because I brought it up and brought pictures. When Kinley had longer hair, her mother refused to comb it. She would come down here with either a hat on or nothing on it. It's matted like a bird's nest, as if birds are nesting in my child's head. Kinley's tender-headed, so she didn't love getting her hair done. But, I would usually sit with her, help my mom do it, pay for someone to do it and sit with her, hold her hand when it hurts. And every time she loved it. Miss Clayworth's reasoning for never doing her hair was because she's not African American and she doesn't know how to do that. So that's why she cut her hair off. Miss Clayworth has two other African American children who don't have this problem with their hair. And that is why I was upset, because I had been talking to Kinley about, hey, you got to keep your hair up even when you cut it, because she still doesn't pick it out. She doesn't put any oil on. These are things she has to do. It doesn't matter if her hair is cut or not. There are plenty of people that I know, women with shorter cut hair. Kinley loves TLC, and her favorite is T-Bot. She's a woman with short cut hair like Kinley's. There's been no issue with Kinley's haircut other than me being upset with her mother about not keeping her hair up, regardless of what the style is. Okay, and this is going back to Kinley's hygiene. These are all things
the court is going to do. I am remanding you to the custody of the Calhoun County Sheriff, where you will remain until the child goes for parenting time. So however long that takes. So what you need to do is you need to make arrangements for the child to go with her father. And at that time, when the defendant confirms that the child is with him, then you will be able to be released from jail. And in this particular case, because it's a 3 denial, I not know the other 3 were. That's basically an additional 6 days. So what we'll do, sir, in this matter, when the child is returned to you, you still have your alternating weeks in the summer. When the child is returned to you, you are entitled to 1 week of the plaintiff's parenting time. So when you first get her, you'll be entitled to your week, then the other week. So effectively, you'll have 3 weeks in a row before you'd have to turn the child back over.
Understood.
Okay. That will be the order of the court, and you can go, ma'am. You can go with the sheriff, and hopefully you can get in touch with somebody to get the child turned over.
Okay, so we were able to hear the video. We got the gist of what took place. You got a white woman that is or was in a relationship with a black man, and they are at, I guess, a custody hearing. And because of the mistreatment by way of the white mother when it deals with her biracial daughter, or better yet, I'm just going to say black, due to the effect of how the hair came out, the white mom decided, oh, I'm not going to do her hair. I'm going to just allow it to be how it is, and it's just going to be matted, or it's going to do this, it's going to do that, right? She pretty much wanted to allow her hair to be the way that people of her community will allow their hair to be. And she didn't want to attend. She didn't want to care. She didn't want to try to manage or even try to go on Pinterest. She didn't want to go to IG. She didn't want to watch any YouTube videos or anything like that. She didn't even want to potentially even go seek out possibly a random black female friend, if she even has those. I pretty much doubt it, by the way that she is treating her own daughter. And as the black male stated, he was like, hey, she has 3 other kids that are black as well, and those kids don't have this type of problem. And I'm pretty sure that their hair is not like this. It's pretty much straight, or something to that effect, where it's not curly or anything like that, right? Like I think what people would say, like a 4C, 4-3, or things of that nature. And it's ridiculous. And this is why I've stated a multitude of times before that people should be very cautious on who it is that they decide to date. And as I specifically stated on the side of the video, that a child has to suffer because of a parent's choice. That could go either way. That can go by way of the mother because of the way that she chose to treat her daughter. That can go by the way of the father and how it is that he chose this woman to procreate directly with. I'm pretty sure that he more than likely saw the situation. Like, okay, well, she already has, been with black men before. She had, some kids directly out here. So, everything should be fine and dandy, right? Basically the Trojan horse. Obviously, completely wrong. Assess the situation, completely wrong. And the father did note directly to the court that, hey, when I basically have my daughter and, she needs to get her hair done, I'm basically there with my mom. And, both of us are, doing her hair, all these other types of things, yada, yada, yada. She's very tender headed. And, I'll tend to hold her hand and, different things of that nature. And everything is pretty much fine and dandy. So he's saying from his side, even though he is not specifically a woman, and he does not have to do the same things that women do with hair, he at least attempts, he at least tries as a man. For her being a woman and just wanting not to do it, that's insanity. That makes zero sense at all. And he is 100% correct. But I'm going to just reinstate again. This is why I've stated to a lot of black people directly out there that sometimes you may want to think before you decide to leap. Again, you have a lot of black people out here that will decide that the grass is greener on the other side, and not understanding the fact that once that child comes out, they have to deal with your decision. As somebody stated before, the child has to pay for the father's sins, right? But in this instance, as I'm stating, generalizing, making it as plain and obvious and clear cut as I can, because I know how some people like to tend to get on these subjects. Whatever you as a black person, male or female, decide to do, and you want to be with somebody else, you want to cohabitate, you want to decide to procreate, that child is going to have to pay for your decisions. That child is going to have to deal with things that you never in your life ever had to sit up there and deal with. And that's because of your decision making, because you decided, you thought that the grass was greener directly on the other side. So the reason why I'm touching directly on this, oh, also I want to point out this one thing before I get into the threads, the comments that people decided to make about this. Somebody noted that in the background, if you look, you see what seems to be a very dark complected black guy at the very back, and he has his both arms stretched out on the bench. Now, that guy is a little bit too comfortable. So either he's been through, courts before, or more than likely, that black guy that is there is the next boyfriend in line. And, as I stated before, whatever people decide to do is whatever people decide to do. At the end of the day, the choice is yours, but also those consequences belong directly to you as well. So now we got some of the comments that I was referring to, and let's go over them. One person said, and yet black men will keep procreating with them. Why would you be with someone that knows little to nothing about your culture, like how to care for black hair? Another person, the problem with black men like him is that they always try to turn the white woman that they are with into the expectations you would find in a black woman. Mother, in this case, the burden is on them both to learn how to raise a biracial child. Another person said, another black man comes to terms with the consequences of his preference. Another one, and a black man continues to have kids with non-black women. Another one, going to continue to stand on my point. White females and black male relationships have no business. So much anti-blackness. It's cosplay. Lose-lose situation. Another person, surprise, surprise. A lot of black men marry white women out of self-hatred, not true love, and end up in these situations. No way he didn't know she was on this type of time, but he wanted this mixed baby so bad. Well, here you go, sir. Laughing emoji. Last but not least, this person said, notice how well this went, to the point that she got put in jail for refusing visitation. That's how we know these deadbeats are lying. They just never go to court and cry online. So I just want to point out this, and everybody with common sense, or anybody with common sense, should be able to realize this. We went from this being a custody hearing, right, where the father was going to court because of the mistreatment of his daughter by way of the mother. He won the custody. Instead of people being directly on the mother, on the woman for not being a mother, people like, oh no, let's just sit up there and automatically attack the black man automatically. We don't care nothing about the child. We really don't care about the situation. Let's just focus on the fact that this is a black man and he decided not to be with one of us, and we're going to throw all of these other things directly out there. In some instances, we're going to say that we don't care. We're going to laugh about the situation. We're going to say, oh, well, about the again, I just want for people to pick up that a lot of these people who leave comments under these posts don't do so because they genuinely actually care about or are concerned about the well-being of the child, who is the most important person about this whole story. That's the most important thing there. They don't care about that. They just use this as a way to specifically go after and to try to down talk black men in general because of whatever it is that they have been through, seen, heard about, or whatnot, or whatever. Like I said, this is all madness. This is 100% madness. And the craziest part, the one thing that I dislike here that always comes through is the lack of awareness from a lot of the black women here when they want to specifically talk about black men being in a relationship with X, Y, and Z. But yet I've, as a content creator myself, I've covered a multitude of stories of black women being with men of different races, and those women finding out, or the whole world finding out, that their husband is a full-blown racist, that they're on blog sites and they've been releasing tweets and all this other type of stuff, while also being in a house with a black woman and having biracial kids, or learning about the fact through TikTok from biracial kids, and the father is white or other, how it is that they get deemed, seen, and treated and talked about in the slurs that are stated around them or directly to them. The fact of how black women out here who are in these interracial relationships, in some instances, they are no longer existing. They've gone through very much horrific and traumatic experiences and different things of that sort. But the thing I found very interesting when covering a lot of these stories is that more times than not, black dudes will be honest, right? They'll be like, this is my situation. This is what I'm going through. It is what it is. Yes, I did make the decision, but I'm just going to, put the information, directly out there because people need to be made aware of what is happening. Right. So no matter how it's going directly with a black man, you're going to hear whatever's happening directly with that relationship. Now, on the other hand, when it deals with black women and their kids and their interracial relationships, magically mom is the word from what everything I've seen. Even going through black women blog sites and all of these things, even going through YouTube and all, they never want to talk about the bad things. They never want to talk about the atrocities. They never want to talk about the horrible things. They don't want to put that at the forefront. Because even looking at least one or two of the comments there, they always try to make it seem like, well, black man, you know what it was because you decided to be with, this woman, and this is why, black men and white women should just not be doing this. But shouldn't you be saying that in general? Because the same thing that happened here could very easily happen to a black woman in a interracial relationship with a white man. That doesn't, just because you're a black woman doesn't mean that you're immune, or it's just not going to sit up to happen, or that magically things are just so much more better. Like I said, and that's the main thing that comes through when I hear a lot of these black female voices online dealing with interracial relationships. They make it seem as though that their side is way better, it's more successful, everything is golden, it's peachy keen, everybody is living like a king and queen and a prince and a princess, and that's it, everybody's going to heaven. And I'm like, yeah, some people are going to heaven, but not the way that you think. But like I said, it's a lot of people out here that want to be disingenuous when they want to talk about these topics. They don't want to be honest, right? And like I said before, the main people that get the blowback from doing this is black men, and realistically, only black men. Just to be honest, like the whole world will literally be like, black man, that's what you do. You shouldn't have been doing that. What were you shouldn't have been doing? Rah, 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 all this other type of stuff. And then people are silent when it deals with the other side. I'm like, that's a little bit weird. I'm like, shouldn't the energy be a little bit shouldn't it be even? Right. But maybe that's just me in the world that I feel that people should be in. Right. That the energy should be pretty much well placed and balanced across the board, because a lot of people believe in equality. But I guess people only want equality for certain things. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I listed and stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.